Are you looking to sail on Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas and you're wondering if this ship is any good or not? Well, you're in luck. Nicole and I just sailed on this ship for a 7-night cruise to Alaska back in June of 2025. And in this video, we're going to let you know what we thought about this ship and give you our overall ship rating and review. I'm Travis.
And I'm Nicole.
Let's get wanderlost. If you watch our channel, you should know that we rate all the ships we sail on in 5 different categories. They are food and beverage, maintenance and cleanliness, entertainment, ship layout and amenities, and value for your money. Our first category is going to be ship layout and amenities. And in this category, we talk about how easy the ship is to navigate, what the ship has to offer, the decor, and how comfortable the ship is. Quantum of the Seas is a Quantum class cruise ship. It was the first of its class when it made its maiden voyage back in 2014. Quantum is a lot different than a lot of the modern day Royal Caribbean cruise ships. There's no Royal Promenade, there's no water slides, there's no splash pad, there's no ice skating rink. It's a little bit more of a traditional cruiser made for specific routes and itineraries around the world. Quantum typically will sail Alaska, it'll sail in Australia. It's made for that type of cruising where it's a little bit less of the Caribbean style. Now, there's some things that we like about the Quantum class setup, and there's some things that we just aren't really the biggest fans of. Let's talk about the stuff that we do like. The first thing is the Seaplex. It's the sports zone at the very top of the ship, and this is where you're going to find bumper cars on board Quantum of the Seas. It's also where they do the laser tag, archery. It's where the video games are. It's basically a giant area where you can do all kinds of activities and fun stuff, especially for the kids. A couple other cool things about Quantum of the Seas and its ship layout and amenities. One, a very large gym and spa. It's really cool. Like, we really like the gym on this ship. Tons of stuff to do up there, and the spa is one of the better spas on board a Royal Caribbean ship. There are 2 indoor pools, which seems unheard of when you sail in the Caribbean on most ships, because you want to be outside in the sun. But like I said, Quantum of the Seas usually sails different itineraries, usually in colder climates. To have a indoor pool for children and families, and then an indoor solarium, which is one of the best solariums on any Royal Caribbean ship. The rooms on Quantum of the Seas are larger than most Royal Caribbean cruise ships, and they're very spacious and very comfortable. We actually really liked our room. I remember when we first opened the door and was like, yeah, this is going to be a nice 7 days on this ship. And if you've never sailed on a Quantum class, there's a big lounge, which is a performing venue at the back of the ship called 270 that's got floor-to-ceiling windows. It's just an unusual, very different style of lounge for a Royal Caribbean ship. There's robotic arms, projection mapping, all kinds of really cool stuff. And they do some really awesome stuff in that lounge as well. And one of our favorite things, especially for Alaska, is that the Windjammer has outdoor seating. And it's at the back of the ship, so you can sit outside, enjoy the wake view, and look for whales. What could be better than that at the buffet? Another really cool thing about Quantum of the Seas, and you've probably seen it in pictures, it has an observation tower called North Star. And this tower goes on a giant hydraulic arm, like straight up in the air, and you sit inside that little ball on it, and you can see for miles and miles. It's a really cool idea, especially if you're in some pretty ports like Seattle. You can see the entire skyline and stuff. We really like the North Star. Now, there are a few things that we did not enjoy about the Quantum class setup. One, there's no Royal Promenade. There is a Royal Esplanade, but it's a lot smaller and it felt very cramped, especially during busy times. And with the Royal Esplanade, you have one of the worst setups for an Azumi sushi restaurant on any ship that you've ever seen. Who wants to eat in the middle of the walkway, honestly? And then we mentioned the 270 lounge, but there's not always a good seat in the 270 lounge. And the venue's not really set up for some of the game shows and fun activities like we like to do, like Crazy Quests and Battle of the Sexes and things like that. And then the music hall is awesome for music, but if you don't get there early, you can't see what's going on unless you're watching TV on the second story of that music hall. It feels like they could have done a little bit something different to make it more inviting and more useful for a lot of different people. Quantum of the Seas has 4 different dining rooms because they used to do rotational dining, but since they stopped doing that, it just feels, I don't know, wasted space is the best way to describe it. Like, why is there 4 dining rooms? Like, why am I in Grand and somebody else is in Chic? It just doesn't flow as well as like the dining rooms on Odyssey, which is also a Quantum class ship, but a later Quantum class ship. And we mentioned it in the beginning. There's no water slides. There's no splash pad for the kids. There's like a little wave pool, which seems, I don't know, not as fun if I was a kid. So the indoor pools go great, but then there's nothing really exciting about the pool deck. So in terms of ship layout and amenities, we're going to give Quantum of the Seas a 3.75 out of 5.
Up next, we have the food and beverage on board Quantum of the Seas. This includes all dining options, both complimentary and upcharged, as well as all of the bars on board the ship. Overall, on Quantum of the Seas, there are a lot of different specialty restaurant options. You have everything from Chops, which is a Royal Caribbean classic, to Azumi Sushi and even Wonderland. So if you're looking to do specialty dining on this ship, there are a very good assortment. In addition to your usual specialty dining options, Quantum of the Seas also has a few different options that you don't usually get, such as the pub on board actually serves food. So you can go there and get a burger, mac and cheese bites, even fried cheesecake. They also have a noodle shop on board. It is in the Splashaway Cafe. It used to be Kung Fu Panda themed. It is next to the pool deck. And while it does serve some complimentary options, such as chicken tenders and French fries, you can go there to get noodles, fried rice for an extra charge. When it comes to the bars, there were a ton of good drink options all throughout the ship. They do serve a lot of the typical Royal Caribbean menu, but whether you're looking for something alcoholic or non-alcoholic, there is something for everyone, and they're always willing to make you anything that you want. You don't have to go based off of the menu that they provide. When it comes to complimentary dining on board, both the main dining room and the Windjammer were both great service in the main dining room. I will say the food in the main dining room was okay. It was your standard cruise fare, nothing super special, but nothing all that bad either, just your typical Royal Caribbean classics, but the service always more than makes up for it, and everyone there was fantastic. The Solarium Bistro as well has small plates, more of an upscale Windjammer, and the food there was actually really good. Now when it comes to the not so good portion of food and beverage on this ship, I already mentioned that the main dining room food was just okay. It wasn't our favorite, and I will say that there were a more limited variety of quick service options if you just wanted something fast and you didn't want to go to the Windjammer or to the main dining room, that they could really use a few more grab and go style things. With that being said, there are a lot of extra snacks available, but they are for an extra charge. So the pub and the noodle shop, while those are great options, they are not included. And there is no playmakers on board this ship. That is the sports bar that some of Royal Caribbean ships have. And I wish we could trade the noodle shop for a playmakers. And then I really do think that they should add an extra complimentary dining option just to give you more variety. The ship does not have an El Loco Fresh or anything like that on the pool deck, and at times it is missed. Overall, we give the food and beverage on board Quantum of the Seas a 3.75 out of 5.
Our next category is entertainment. In this category, we talk about everything that the ship has to offer to keep you entertained on your 7 days on board this ship. Entertainment is something that Royal Caribbean really excels in. Just about all of their ships have great shows, great activities, great game shows, tons of stuff to do to keep you entertained through the 7 days that you're on the ship. And with Quantum of the Seas, it's traditional Royal Caribbean when it comes to entertainment. There's some stuff that we liked and we didn't like, so we'll start with the stuff that we did like. The best show on Quantum of the Seas is Sonic Odyssey. It's a really weird show, or weird concept of a show. It's about instruments, essentially. They have a gigantic earth harp, a drum wall, like all kinds of stuff that makes noise and music. And The show's about that stuff. But it's really cool, and you should definitely see it because how I'm describing it isn't doing it justice. The other shows on board, like Sequins and Feathers, is pretty good. It's a song and review dance show, but it's good. And then they have some really good headliner acts. On our sailing, we had Mosaic, which was unbelievable. And then we had a juggling comedian, which was pretty good as well. Around this ship, there was tons of stuff like trivia, which we did trivia in the Royal Theater. We did trivia in the music hall, in Schooner Bar, in 270. There was tons of trivia. And then we did the Royal Mystery, which was a game that took place in the music hall, which is something we hadn't seen before, and it was amazing. We wish that was on every ship. There's live music throughout the day. Doesn't matter if you're in the Schooner Bar, the music hall, or 270, or just walking around. There's going to be live music on this ship. And there's so many different game shows, from Crazy Quest, Battle of the Sexes, and so on. All your staples, Love and Marriage, you name it, it's probably on the ship. Now, a couple of the not so good stuff. One, the main show in the 270 lounge is called Starwater. And we just felt very disappointed by this show because this is supposed to be the flagship on the ship. And they didn't use the robotic arms. It was just very, I don't know, the scenes took longer than what they should have. And it just wasn't all that great for us. Maybe it's great for you. It wasn't great for us. And then when you're doing game shows in the 270 lounge, or a lot of events in a 270 lounge, like the parties and whatever else they do, like the nightclub, it just feels very small, and the venue is not set up for people being engaged with what's going on stage. It just kind of ruins the magic a little bit. Like, it was probably the worst version of Crazy Quest that we've had on any Royal Caribbean ship. But again, this is Royal Caribbean. You're going to be entertained. You're not going to feel like you need to bring a board game on board the ship because there's always something to do, even on an Alaskan sailing, which are normally pretty low-key. Royal Caribbean shines in entertainment, and this is probably one of the best categories for Quantum of the Seas. We're going to give Quantum of the Seas a 4 out of 5 in entertainment, and we definitely think there's something for everyone on board, and you should not be bored on this ship, no matter which type of itinerary you have.
Our next category is maintenance and cleanliness. This is how well the ship has been taken care of and maintained, and how clean it is. For Quantum of the Seas, it is an 11-year-old ship. However, it has been very well maintained. Throughout the ship, there were a few things that were currently out of order, such as slot machines, some of the gym equipment, some of the games in the arcade, and at times the bionic bar. But overall, the ship is in great condition, and minus a little rust, looks to be almost brand new. When it comes to the stateroom, it was super clean. The balcony furniture did have a fair amount of rust on it and looked like it may need to be replaced. But again, for an 11-year-old ship, and those items are out in the elements 24/7, it was in great condition. As with most Royal Caribbean ships, there were always crew working super hard to make sure the ship was clean, and we saw them working around the clock. So because of this, this is the best category for Quantum of the Seas, and we give it a 4.25 out of 5 for maintenance and cleanliness.
Our last category is going to be value for your money. And in this category, we talk about, are you getting your money's worth on your vacation on board this ship? Quantum of the Seas currently sails 2 different types of itineraries. One is the Alaska sailings like we did, 7 nights from Seattle, Washington to places like Sitka, Juneau, Skagway, and Victoria, BC. And then the other style is out of Los Angeles, and it goes to places like Catalina, Ensenada, Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan type places in the Mexican Riviera. Now there's 2 different price points here. For Alaska, it's one of the more expensive cruise ships you can go on because it's one of the largest ships to sail Alaska. It has way more to offer. It's more of a family-friendly vibe than some of the smaller Royal Caribbean ships like Serenade and Brilliant and all those ships that sail up there as well. Compared to some of the other brands like Norwegian, Princess, that sail up there, it's probably a little bit more expensive as well. Our sailing, we spent about $3,000 for the 2 of us in a balcony in Alaska for that 7-night sailing, which is, I guess, okay for what it was. It's one of the more value-friendly when it moves to Los Angeles. You're looking at between 3, 4, and 6 night sailings, and you're looking at $300 a person, $400 a person, $500 a person for a balcony cabin, and that's pretty good. That's mostly due to the sailing from Los Angeles part, because it's not as huge demanding as like Florida or Alaska. Now, do you get your money's worth on Quantum of the Seas? For those LA sailings, yeah, definitely. For what you're getting for $300 to $500 a person for a balcony, like, sign me up. All day, every day. That's a great price for those itineraries. And Quantum of the Seas gives you a ton of stuff over some of the other ships that sail out of Los Angeles. For Alaska, I guess if you want a bigger ship and it's family friendly, yeah, $3,000 isn't awful. $1,500 a person. So overall, do we think Quantum of the Seas is worth the money? Out of 5. And we're going to give Quantum of the Seas a 4 out of 5 for value for your money. So that's all 5 categories. We gave Quantum of the Seas a 3.75 out of 5 in ship layout and amenities, a 3.75 out of 5 in food and beverage, a 4 out of 5 in entertainment, a 4.25 out of 5 in cleanliness and maintenance, and then a 4 out of 5 in value for your money. If you add up all those scores, that equals a 19.75 out of 25. And if you divide that by 5, again, I say this every time, it's a lot of math, but that's a 3.95 out of 5 overall ship rating score for Quantum of the Seas. So how does this score compare to the other ships that we've sailed on and reviewed and rated on our channel? So the worst rated ship that we've sailed on our channel is Voyager of the Seas. We weren't really a fan of, we know y'all are, but we gave it a 2.7. Our best rated ship is Utopia of the Seas, and we gave that ship a 4.7. And our favorite ship, Icon of the Seas, we gave a 4.3. Where does Quantum of the Seas fit in there? Well, at a 3.95, it has the exact same rating as Carnival Jubilee. That's weird, right? So how does it compare to Carnival? Well, at least Jubilee. We gave Jubilee a way higher score in food and beverage, but a worse score in entertainment. And in pretty much everything else was exactly the same, which makes sense. You have venues where seating was kind of obstructed, maintenance and cleanliness was decent, and the ship layout on both of them could use some improvement overall. But Royal Caribbean excelled in entertainment, Carnival excelled in food. Now, is 3.95 a good score? Yeah, it is. It's pretty much a 4 out of 5, and it's right in the middle of our rating system. We honestly believe that Quantum of the Seas is a very good cruise ship, especially for the itineraries that it sails. Those indoor pools are amazing. The shows like Sonic Odyssey are unbelievable. And we think these ships have a ton to offer for just about everyone out there. Families, kids, adults, people like us, adults that act like kids. So Nicole, this is the question I ask you every single time on one of these. Our favorite ship is Icon of the Seas. Does Quantum of the Seas overtake it?
No.
Yeah, we kind of assumed that. So Nicole, what did you think about Quantum of the Seas and its rating of a 4 out of 5?
Quantum of the Seas is a great ship. We really do usually enjoy the Quantum class ships. The solarium on them is one of the best, and the indoor pool is a fantastic option, especially when you don't want to be in the sun all day, but you still want to get to sit by the pool. And Quantum of the Seas delivered on that. Not only that, but it's really made to take in the views, lots of windows, the open seating in the windjammer to be able to look at the ocean. It's really made to be about where you're sailing, and Quantum of the Seas does that.
Yeah, there's just a few things that we would improve upon, and it's mostly get it closer to Odyssey of the Seas. And we didn't rate Odyssey, which we sailed through the Greek Isles. It's one of our favorite ships, honestly. It would probably be scored very high in our ratings. What did Quantum have to do to get as close to Odyssey? Add playmakers to the Seaplex. Give us another complimentary dining option. Remodel the main dining rooms to be one room rather than 4. And then probably do something with like the music hall type of thing to make it a little bit more conducive. And then use the robotic arms and the technology in 270 better overall. But Odyssey is one of the best, and you're comparing Quantum to the best in its class. Quantum is still good. So that'll wrap it up. That was our review and rating of Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas. If you have any questions about Quantum of the Seas, or our sailing on Quantum of the Seas, or anything else that goes on our channel, make sure you leave those in the comment section below. If you want to help support the channel and you liked this video, make sure you
like this video
and subscribe to our channel for more. If you need us, we have another cruise coming up in a few days, and we're really excited about it. We can't wait to bring you more about that. But in the meantime, we're going to be in the Windjammer, sitting outside, enjoying the wake view, and looking for whales. I'm Travis.
and I'm Nicole.
Thanks so much for watching.